afraid to die.
What's going on up there, Kelly? What's going on up there?
Cause I don't know what's up there beyond those skies.
But what has it been?
It's been a long, 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 long,
long, When is it gonna come? Yes, it is. Has it been?
Hello and welcome to my channel. Go ahead, hit the like, hit the share. This video, we're going to talk about the newest updates in the R. Kelly case and how I've been pointing out since last year a lot of the things that have been going on unbeknownst to R. Kelly that have led to his downfall.
And let all the children see their favorite heroes all come together. That's more of an inspiration than just Batman by himself. More than inspiration than just Superman by himself. And that's why I was telling the fellas over there, you know, if we come together and walk through the light, walk through the cave of darkness, not only will we come out on top, or shine the light on us, we will inspire millions of kids around the world to shine a light on themselves. Because I believe that in the midst of this life, we are in the midst of failure. The good news is that in the midst of this life, we are also in the midst of victories. And it is only how you handle your struggle and what you go through.
So we here at Court TV have been tracking the trials, plural, of R&B superstar R. Kelly, who is locked up right now, but has cases in New York, in Illinois, federal court, state court, several accusers, all women saying some level of sex abuse is what they're alleging. Well, the big news today is that some of these accusers may be being threatened and harassed by people associated with R. Kelly. At least that's what prosecutors are saying. Let me put up on the screen. We've got 3 sets of accusations here. The first one against a man named Richard Arlene, who's allegedly a longtime friend of R. Kelly. In substance, during the recorded 3-way call described in paragraph 9 of an affidavit, Arline Jr. discussed a proposal in which Jane Doe, one of the accusers, would receive $500,000 in exchange for not continuing to cooperate with the government against R. Kelly. One of the accusations, okay? Next one. This one involves Michael Williams, who prosecutors described as being related to a former R. Kelly publicist. On June 11th, 2020, at approximately 2:50 a.m. Eastern, a black SUV, which had been leased from Enterprise commercial vehicle establishment and was parked outside of the residence in Florida where Jane Doe, another accuser, was staying, was set on fire in an apparent arson. The vehicle sustained substantial damage as a result of the arson. Third accusation, this one involving Donnell Russell, who was allegedly a manager and advisor to R. Kelly. The defendant, Donnell Russell, also known as Don Russell and Cologne Dunn, together with others, engaged in a course of conduct designed to harass and intimidate Jane Doe, another accuser, by, among other things, threatening to reveal potentially embarrassing photographs of Jane Doe and to publicly reveal Jane Doe's sexual history if Jane Doe did not withdraw her lawsuit against R. Kelly. Wow. So, these are the accusations. Again, these people the government is saying, all tied to R. Kelly, who they've really been painting a picture of as being some sort of a crime boss. And I've been sort of skeptical about that. I'm a little less skeptical tonight. So let's bring in R. Kelly's attorney joining us from Chicago tonight, Steve Greenberg. Steve, you know, one of the issues we've been talking about is the government saying they want anonymous jurors, and I was very skeptical about it. But if the government has evidence that associates of your client are intimidating and threatening and attempting to pay off...
Am I your associate?
Vinny, am I your associate? Would you describe me as your associate?
You're my guest.
Okay.
You're my
But
guest.
what does that mean, an associate of R. Kelly? What does that really mean? Now,
Okay,
Don
a
Russell
manager,
has a relation.
manager.
Former manager.
Okay. How about Richard Arline, longtime friend? No?
No. So here's what
Not
you've
a
got.
friend?
Here's what you've got. You've got, let's start with Don Russell, okay? The acts that Don Russell is accused of committing predate R. Kelly's indictment. R. Kelly got sued in New York. It was a public suit. Don Russell took it upon himself to send some materials to the lawyer, filed materials with the court. The lawyer was obviously representing this girl, made certain allegations in those materials, made certain statements in those materials. This is not something where since R. Kelly has been indicted, Don Russell went out and started threatening people to not testify against R. Kelly. The supposed longtime
All right, can we talk about the car that's on fire, the SUV?
Well, that has nothing to do with him. There's nothing in that complaint that says that R. Kelly has anything at all to do with that, anything whatsoever, that he's even ever met this person. He has nothing to do with that. They listen to every phone call he makes. They read every letter he sends. They know every time he takes a crap, okay? If he was involved in any of this, you would have seen him indicted for it along with these people.
How about the phone call that Richard Arline made? The $500,000.
He's not on that phone call.
With the government.
R. Kelly's not on that phone call. R. Kelly, they don't have a single call.
Why is
R.
Richard
Kelly.
Arline doing that? Was he just a rabid fan that wants to make
First
sure
of all-
R. Kelly can go back on tour?
You know, I say this tongue in cheek, but if R. Kelly had $500,000, I'm Exhibit A. I wouldn't be the only lawyer who's coming on your show talking. Okay? He doesn't have $500,000. They know he doesn't have $500,000. The other day they put out something that he got $1.2 million in his bank account last year. Yeah, a star of the magnitude of R. Kelly got $1.2 million when he was out of jail from all his royalties, from all his hits, before he paid any of his expenses, managers, and so forth. It's ridiculous. And the person who's making these allegations left R. Kelly when she knew he had no money. She knew he was broke. It's as if I told you that I'm going to make you the king of England. It's as believable as that.
So your position is that R. Kelly has nothing to do with this, that this has nothing to do with the charges. Will this be part of any of these cases? I mean, is the government going to use this information? I mean, your guy has been charged with RICO, right?
Right. So the allegations that they of the underlying acts that result in the civil suit are already part of the New York indictment. What they're trying to do here, Vinny, it's transparent. They're trying to squeeze these guys. These guys wouldn't cooperate with the government. They wouldn't give them any information. They wouldn't say anything bad about R. Kelly. They're ratcheting up the pressure on them. They're hoping to squeeze them to get them to say something bad about R. Kelly, whether it's true or not. And that's all this is. This is intimidation by the government. That's what this is. Not intimidation by these people. If you read what Don Russell said, it is nonsensical. Nonsensical. And this particular individual posts suggestive pictures of herself all over Twitter all the time.
So, all right.
It's enough. It's enough.
One or more of these, let's say, if the government, as you say, is just trying to squeeze these three individuals, let's say that they all three take a deal and testify against R. Kelly. What's that cross-examination going to be like?
Well, it's going to be that they got squeezed and that they never had anything bad to say till it benefited them, till they had to say something, till someone took their arm and twisted it behind their back. It'll be a great cross-examination. It'll be a lot of fun, and it'll be very effective. It's enough.
So you're not worried about this?
Not at all.
You're not worried about any of this?
There's things I'm
All right.
worried about.
I read this.
Not.
All right, because when I read this, I was like, oh, okay. Steve has not been honest with me about this whole kingpin stuff. Because if you've got people who are doing work for you on the outside and are squeezing accusers, that sounds a lot more like a trial that may need anonymous jurors. But we'll see where all this falls.
If R. Kelly's on, Vinny, I'm going to tell you, if R. Kelly's on the phone telling someone, subliminally implying anything, that they should go pay off a witness with all the other problems he's facing, then he's the dumbest guy in America. And I can tell you, he may not be able to read and write, but he ain't dumb.
All right. Steve Greenberg, the attorney for R. Kelly, appreciate you coming on and giving us the other side of the story tonight, as always.
Now, if you ask me, it would appear that R. Kelly knew that these young girls were after him, and he was trying to make it be known that he was only interested in girls that were of legal age. Call me crazy, but I just don't see myself taking my underage daughter to a concert like so. But hey, that's just me.
Whole bunch of clothes, $150 million gone. Do y'all realize when this nigga went to jail, he still had obligations to pay out women every fucking month? This nigga was gonna be paying out settlements until he fucking the end of time. This nigga was paying settlements for fucking, what the fuck, 10, 15 years ago. Everybody think these girls settle when he just came in that motherfucker with a duffel bag full of money. That's not what the fuck happened. They motherfucking got a small lump sum of money in a payment plan. Because if he paid everybody, he really wouldn't be around here. Payment plan, 5,000 a month, 50,000 a month, 20,000.
Sound like some other people wanted to get in on these alleged payment plans. A lot of people overlook certain facts, such as people like Geronda Pace getting caught up in the situation of buying a car with like $15,000, $16,000 cash and then having to explain where that money comes from. Are we getting an idea of how RICO can be viewed in this situation? If some underhanded business practices were occurring to pay these women off. It became obvious that Azriel was in contact with her parents, and other people were taking advantage of the dysfunction among the R. Kelly supporters and found a way to manipulate the situation. Because as we can see here, she was happy and in love with R. Kelly.
And so this is all the information, correct? Yes, so it's 22.
Just a few days ago, we got the information that 3 men were charged in schemes to harass, bribe the alleged victims of R. Kelly's. And a lot of people were caught off guard. It's kind of strange to me because all this played out right before our eyes. And in so many ways, I've said a lot of this that we have saw. So for those who are confused and are excusing why Donnell Russell was arrested and are confusing the facts stating that they're setting him up and just taking him down, let's refresh your memory as to what played out last year.
So we were at the screening of Surviving R. Kelly, and there was a threat called in, and they had to evacuate everyone, and the survivors are going in their van, and they are leaving the scene. We have all been asked to go out. This was not a heavily promoted event.
Incredible threat. We think it was done by obvious parties sent to detract from this moment and this important subject. And so, hope everybody is okay.
This is Joshua Dubois. He is one of the people that does a lot of this promotion for these shows that and films that are focused on Black people. And he's a really amazing man, and he's done something really great here. But we were evacuated. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely, that people see this movie. That's right. Oh no, this is live, baby. You know I'm live. I'll let them know. This is it. We are live. We are documenting. That is it. That is it. That is it. We are live. Oh, so this is Jamila. You guys know Jamila. You know Sister Burke over here. You know all these other people. We are all here in this building talking about R. Kelly. And we hate that nigga, and we hope he dies. You know, that's real, sis. We hate this nigga. We ain't gonna shut us down. You ain't no threat. Ain't no threat. You ain't shutting down Lifetime.
For y'all to stop all this.
That's it.
Mute R. Kelly.
Mute R. Kelly out this bitch. That's right. That's right. Mute Kelly. Mute R. Kelly. Mute R. Kelly. Mute R. Kelly. Mute R. Kelly. Get that nigga out of here. Kelly. Mute R. Kelly. We gotta keep these survivors safe. We were evacuated because there was a threat called in. So whenever you have a lot of Black feminists in the space and you have survivors of this fucking rampant ass bastard, somebody's being funny. They think that shit is cool. It's not, but that's alright, because the show is debuting on January 3rd. On Lifetime. It's a 3-part series, and we're all going to be sharing the story of these survivors. And how do y'all feel about it, brother?
I mean, listen, as a brother right here from Hartford.
Now, after the latest news emerged, I made a post in regards to the fact that this guy, Don Russell, got a bond, and the fact that R. Kelly is still being held without a bond. I just find that messed up, considering they keep denying R. Kelly's bond based on the actions of this guy. So regardless of how anybody feels about that, if that is hating, stating mere facts, oh fucking well. Because while y'all was sitting here listening to a lot of bullshit being presented by this person, you were overlooking the fact that he was telling you the things that he did that are being contributed to R. Kelly. He didn't admit to the bomb threat or the shooting threat. Whenever they make up their mind on which happened, I'll run with that. But he didn't admit to that. But he did admit to the cease and desist letter to Faith, which, as we saw, they began to try to manipulate the facts. And even though we clearly don't see a threat in the letter that he said he wrote or prepared, that's how they wanted to present it. And because that's how they wanted to present it, it again is being contributed against R. Kelly. And if you were sitting here too slow to put two and two together to understand that's what I was telling you about, while a lot of people were assuming Azriel was the reason his bond was being denied, instead of accepting the mere facts that some of these people that we have seen on these platforms are intentionally setting this man up, and or it's either one of three things at this point. For the last year, the people that we have seen on display have either A, been intentionally jeopardizing this man's case, B, they're complete morons, or 3, they're just that captivated by clout that their sense of better judgment went out the fucking window. Because if you just think back on everything we have seen over the last year, you will realize that I have, in so many words, tried to stay away from certain topics for certain reasons. Especially when it comes to these characters. So many people want to come out and give credit and say that I know R. Kelly or I knew R. Kelly. They should have been the very ones to stay off these platforms, other than to say I never witnessed anything. But no, we saw a whole lot of unnecessarily indulged information discussed over these live chats. And let's just go back and review, because people are still confused and letting people manipulate the facts. But let's just start from the beginning with this new indictment. Let's think about it. This all happened. These people took it upon themselves to go and reach out to Azriel after this fight that she displayed on her social media accounts. In the paperwork that they have, they mentioned that there was no connection between the individual two, which is the friend of R. Kelly, and the person who's trying to make the proposition with Azriel. So maybe, just maybe, this will be an advantage for R. Kelly, considering there's no communication with him and these characters. And it can be obviously pointed out that this character in particular was lying to Azriel about certain communications and was clearly acting on his own accord. When it comes to this character, Michael Williams, let's think back. It's a publicist's cousin. Who is the publicist? The same person that was on these platforms that was telling you that old Tim Savage told Lifetime that she was their publicist. The same person that felt like her information was being divulged. Therefore, she needed to come out and speak in her defense. I find it kind of strange, however, they were mentioning this incident and describing the car that was in question as an SUV, when by the looks of the pictures that were displayed on social media, that does not look like an SUV. But anyways, moving on. A lot of people are a little bit confused about why now. Why would they go pick him up after all this time? Well, think about it. Like I said from the beginning, in most cases when you have a RICO indictment, you usually have multiple individuals, and they already implied that there were other individuals that they were watching in the other indictments, when they said that the enterprise comprised of managers, assistants, bus drivers, etc. So that should have already let you know that this was still an open investigation. That has been the main thing that I have said or tried to put to the forefront. It's just certain things on these lives that people were doing that should not have been occurring. Like I said, either one or two reasons. You were intentionally doing the stuff to put information out there, or you're just completely a moron. One or the two. So the fact of the matter is, as I said last year, it was already said that this whole thing started as a result of R. Kelly inquiring about his publishing rights, his catalog, his money. As I have pointed out throughout this whole research, there's always been questionable characters around him, and their actions could have been the reason that this whole thing is where it's at now. And as I've said with the people coming on YouTube, a lot of them are just trying to cover their own ass, and or, like I said, divulging unnecessary information. Think back. Didn't we see a docuseries in which an individual stated she had an account that had $40 million of R. Kelly's in it? And we wonder why these people have been on an expedition to find the money. Everybody has been spending the last year hooping and hollering about money. Money, money, money. And any person with common sense knows with the federal RICO Act, they're going to try to isolate the defendant from any sources of money. So all that extra shit that we saw going on, I don't even understand why anybody with common sense entertained it. For the simple fact, again, this was still an open investigation. And R. Kelly already told us what the problem was.
I've been fucked by so many damn managers. Why they push me out front of these cameras? All this music got engaged them, and now they play me like a fucking amateur. I got a life, yeah. I got a right, yeah. Cancel my shows. That shit ain't right, yeah. They took my gift and they blind me. Where the fuck is my money? Now here come this big ass conspiracy. I still got my fans, that's a blessing. Listen to heaven, just stay on my grind and it's 24/7. And I know my mama Joanne is hounding down on me. I put that on reverend. Been a grown man since age 11. 9 on the clock since 7. Rest in peace to my homie Kevin. You may have your opinions, entitled to your opinions, but really am I supposed to go to jail or lose my career because your opinion? Yeah, go ahead and storm me. Point your finger at me. Turn the world against me, but only God can mute me. I admit that I fired some people. I admit that I hired new people. I admit that those people I fired on my mama was crooked ass people. I admit that I don't know my music. I admit that I will on my music. Want it back, but they don't wanna do it. What the fuck, nigga? I wrote that music. I did that bump and grab. I did that 12 track. I did that fed up. I changed the damn game. So I deserve me a fair play. So put some respect on my damn name. Now Wendy Williams mad with me.
Considering these people's cases are falling apart right before their eyes, these people who have initiated these cases are being investigated and being found corrupt. That all this is being overlooked and not being highlighted in the news should tell you a lot. Meanwhile, just as we're getting an understanding of the last report, we get a new report of R. Kelly reportedly received $1.2 million last year despite claiming lack of funds, open bank account in someone else's name.
How can I pay child support? How? If my ex-wife is destroying my name and I can't work, how can I work? How can I get paid? How can I take care of my kids? How?
The explosive R. Kelly interview interview with Gayle King continues. Now CBS This Morning is sharing an inside look at the R&B legend's financial struggles. This is just one day after Kelly was taken into custody due to over $161,000 in unpaid child support payments. His rep told ET the singer offered to pay $50,000 to $60,000 in court on Wednesday and set up a payment plan, but the judge denied that offer. The 52-year-old expressed shock when it was rejected. His rep adds, quote, "You could see the air go out of him. He never expected that." Here's what he told King about his money troubles before his arrest.
What is your financial situation, if you don't mind saying?
Here's the deal. So many people have been stealing my money. People was connected to my account. I went by myself for the first time to Bank of America. Didn't know what I was doing. Didn't know what the hell was going on.
When did you do that? First time by yourself?
About 3 weeks ago to a month.
3 weeks ago was the first time you went to Bank of America
Absolutely.
by yourself?
By myself. Because I was so tired of not knowing where my money was, what my publishing is.
Isn't that on you then?
Huh?
Isn't that on you?
A lot of it's on.
That you didn't know where your money is?
A lot of it's on.
Isn't that on you? That's what a lot of people say. And you can say that, but when you pay people to handle your money and you think you can trust them, you expect them to handle your money, right?
And people say he doesn't have money because he had to pay so much in settlements. What do you say about that?
Lie.